All right, well, hello, folks. We've got a panel of 4 people, 2 couples today, and we're going to try our best to answer some questions that we expect that you have, that we know you have, because we get emails, we get phone calls with all kinds of questions. So let's just start this off real quick. Lad and April, why don't you introduce yourselves? Tell us a little bit about who you are, your family, and your homeschooling background.
Good thing. It's great to be with you all today. I'm Lad Lesh. I'm General Manager of Apologia. This is my wife, April. We have been married for 12 years. We have 8 children who are a tremendous blessing. And I've been with Apologia since 2011. It's been a wonderful blessing.
How old are your kids?
Our oldest is 11, and our youngest just turned 1. So we're all within 10 years. Quite a range, but a lot of fun. And 7 boys and 1 girl. So we're heavy on the mud and the frogs and the crickets and wooden swords.
And how did y'all get into homeschooling? Was it kicking and screaming, or was this some vision God gave you in the middle of the night?
We always planned to homeschool. I think Lad was homeschooled all the way through growing up, and I went to Christian school, and my parents both taught at the Christian school, so it was the closest thing you could get to homeschooling because we all rode together in the car, the whole family. And we always said we would either do a Christian school or homeschool, and it just worked out that we did homeschool, and we started right at the very beginning. So
yeah, we're very encouraged, to be hearing about how many, families are considering homeschooling right now, because we know it's not an easy decision. It can be a scary decision, an intimidating one, and it's a real encouraging time to be looking into homeschooling, and we're just thrilled people are taking a more serious look at it.
Okay, Rachel, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about our family and how we got into homeschooling, which I happen to know was kicking and screaming.
It's true. So, we have, I think also you probably had a vision for a big family all from the beginning. Is that fair, April?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't remember us even talking about it. Just kind of
happened
organically. But
Congratulations.
I think it's what we
So Davis and I have 7 children. Our oldest turns 30 this year. I'm not sure how that happened. Obviously, I was 12 when I had him. But we have 7 children, 2 sons, then 3 daughters in the middle, and then 2 sons at the end. We are entering our 25th year of home education. We have the last 2 are still in high school, so senior and sophomore, junior, depending on which day of the week it is. And we didn't want to homeschool. We were adamantly against homeschoolers. I made fun of homeschoolers too. Told them what a dumb idea that was.
How could you, Rachel? I mean, we can be an easy target.
And that's why I'm so encouraged by these moments that people are getting right now, because I know that for me, we never would have done this if God had not orchestrated circumstances that demanded that we consider this option, which to me was crazy. And now 25 years later, I'm so grateful. So my prayer is that these families who, whether or not they made fun of it really doesn't matter at this point, right? I feel like this is a leveling point for everyone. Maybe at the other end of this, even if for families that put their kids back in the system, whatever that looks like, maybe we can all come together as moms again and be a little bit more kind and gracious to each other, having walked through this together. That's at least my hope. But I also really hope that a lot of people will take a good look at this and embrace it as a defining element of their family.
Well, and as Rachel alluded, 25 years ago, we had our COVID-19 moment that forced us into this path that was not part of our plan, and we still thank God for his grace to get us there.
Yeah.
So folks that are listening, it's very possible that this year, 2020, was the year that you found yourself suddenly in a mandatory trial run of home education. Maybe you were thinking about it, and this was a great opportunity to give it a try. But now we're into the beginning of the school year, and literally hundreds of thousands of students and families, possibly millions, have entered homeschooling for the first time. So because of that, homeschooling can be scary that first year. It can be overwhelming. You can feel like you really don't know what you're doing. So what kind of advice would y'all give to our listeners right now who are in that position to help them do this first year with some confidence, with some joy, and even some direction? What would your words of wisdom be?
I think first, just relax and not look at it as trying to imitate the schoolroom atmosphere. I try to think of it more as creating a book club culture in your home where you're reading great books together, you're enjoying life together, you're having a cup of tea together, having a snack together, and as you're doing it, you're learning and talking and thinking of great ideas, doing projects together, instead of trying to replicate the structure and the sit still all day and stay in your desk environment of a schoolroom, which honestly is probably not the most beneficial way to learn anyway, but it also can't really be done in a home where you're also living life together. So to just kind of throw out the ideas of the traditional schoolroom that you might be feeling the need to imitate and start fresh. And so the book club culture idea, although if you saw my book club culture, it's a naked toddler running through the house every now and then and lots of screaming and fighting.
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, it's not a typical book club, but it is our goal, and it is kind of my vision that I have for the kids. And there are a lot of times where you have those really great moments of everyone sitting down, enjoying a snack together, and snacks are a big part of our homeschool day. So trying to make it pleasant instead of painful.
Yes.
Both.
Yeah. It's a wonderful opportunity to take a more serious look at homeschooling. Know that you're not alone. There's a lot of resources available, and Apologia hopes to be one of those resources you can go to. And that's one of the reasons we're here talking, is we want to be a help to you as you seriously consider this. No, you're not alone in this. There's a lot of people researching this, and the resources are available. And it does not have to be an intimidating prospect to consider.
Yeah, I agree. And I love what you said at the first there, April. I just want to invite everyone to keep breathing. I think there's a lot of people up there who are holding their breath, right? And for a variety of different reasons. But I just want to say, breathe and relax, and frankly, lean into this moment. I think this is a providential moment. I've said that over and over and over, and I think this is a providentially orchestrated moment for all of us to work in our own hearts, in our own homes. And I don't know if we'll get this moment again, so I vote we take full advantage of it. And so mom and dad leaning into God, leaning into each other, leaning into your marriage, leaning into those relationships with our kids. I know that I've talked to lots of moms that are like, oh my goodness, I'm getting to spend time with my kids, and I didn't even realize everything I was missing. I was with a physician just yesterday, and she's changed up her whole schedule. So she is a family practice physician, and she's changed up her whole schedule because of this. Because why? Her kids are at home now. And she was like, we are having a great time. And it was a statement she made, like she was surprised that was true. And I'm really hoping that families across the United States are going, wow, we really enjoy being together more than we thought we did. And I think that's the opportunity here, is get to know each other again, get to figure out, laugh together, work a puzzle together, read a book together. I think that the temptation is to allow this arbitrary idea of behind, to just shackle and paralyze us. Throw it off. This is a moment, an opportunity. Breathe, lean in, and relax.
Yeah, the thought that I would add is to know that, especially if you're a Christian, that homeschooling is going to be a walk of faith.
Yes.
It's going to test you in ways that you never could have predicted. And walking by faith is scary, but it's also very exciting in any category of life. But in homeschooling, your marriage, your parenting, and obviously the training of your kids, you don't know exactly what the future holds. And now you think that you might mess them up. But God has got this, and he's doing something in your life and heart, in your family's culture, and in your children. They love spending time with you. So as Rachel said, kind of lean into this, trust God, but walk by faith. Let your sanctification happen. And homeschooling is really a great avenue for that to happen in ways that you never would have expected. So we've talked a little bit about how to kind of have an attitude that's right that gets you through this, so you can enjoy it and be focused and do it well. But practically, how does a day look? You got the kids home all day. Maybe they're young. Maybe they're in high school. Maybe they got ADHD and they chase the squirrel every time it comes around. How does a homeschool parent have some kind of control and or organization and or structure to a day or a week or a month?
Well, I actually have my Apologia planner that I will show you. And I have had one of these planners for years, probably 4 years, and I never actually used it because it was so pretty. I didn't want to write in it because I didn't want to mess it up, and I knew I would change things and have to cross it out. And this year I started using it, and it's so exciting and fun because I decided to write in pencil instead of pen. So it's okay if I mess it up, I can erase it. And it really has helped me. It has helped me because it has pages where you can list all the resources for each kid, track it by age, and then you can write down all the things you're going to do together as the whole family, and all the things you're going to do separately for each kid. So the only problem is it doesn't have enough spaces for my kids. It only goes up to 6. So we're going to have to
work on that.
But it honestly is helping me, and it actually helps me mentally just to feel like I'm staying on top of it, because I have at least something written down that I know I'm planning to do. And if I don't get to it, it's okay, but at least I have a goal worked out. Whereas before, I was kind of always scratching around, like, what am I going to do for this next book that we're going to read together? So that has been a huge help. And as for our day-to-day, we all have breakfast together in the morning, and Lad has been reading out loud. I've got this book. Every morning, he reads Pilgrim's Progress, 1 or 2 chapters to the kids. It's Little Pilgrim's Progress, so it's good for the younger kids, and it only takes a few minutes. Then I try to spend a little bit of time with the young kids first, because if I try to jump into homeschool with the older ones, the little ones fall apart and they scream and cry and they demand attention. And it's just, I've learned that it's better to try to read with them a couple of picture books so that they get their love tank filled up. And then we move on to school. And one way that helps if you have multiple kids is combining subjects together as much as possible. So I'm doing this year math together with my 8-year-old and my 2 6-year-olds, because they all kind of do everything together anyway. So I'm combining that, and then I combine science. So we're doing Apologia Science, which is I'm doing swimming creatures this year. With all the kids. And then the younger kids are doing the junior notebooking journal with that, and my older kids do a different science on their own, which is also Apologia. They'll do like Jackson just finished Exploring Creation with physics. He did that a few weeks ago. So they can do one on their own, and then I'm also combining multiple subjects. So
you know what our day is full of? Our day is full of inconveniences and what you'd think are detours, and yet those detours aren't detours from life, they are life. And so throughout your day, you're going to have inconveniences pop up, you're going to have schedule changes, and it can be hard to adjust at first, but just know those inconveniences are life. Those are the opportunities you have with your kids when you least expect it, to stop, take a moment, and to take the time to maybe hone in on something you didn't expect you were going to do that day.
I think that's really an excellent point. So when we first started, I was a schedule girl, and I had it all down to the minute, baby. We were going to be at the breakfast table on 8:23. We're going to be cleaning up, and we were all miserable by 8:15 because we're off schedule. And so I had to sort of pull back and figure out, well, that didn't work. And I was so disappointed in you people because I had it was working for me. But I decided that what we needed was a rhythm, and like a pattern that life would go through, a series of things we would try to work through every day. So like you're saying, we had breakfast together, we had family worship together where we were, all trying to set our mind on things above, like not the fact that your brother's breathing your air or somebody's pulling your ponytail, but, we're setting our mind on things above, trying to set the framework for the day. And then a series of the order to do like all the other things that we needed to do. We took breaks to do laundry, and we took breaks to go outside and run around the house, right? And chase the squirrels. But I think your point, Lad, is such a good point. There's this idea that if you homeschool, your kids aren't in the real world.
Right.
Well, I don't know what real world the rest of the world lives in, but there's no bell going off here every 43 minutes.
Right.
And we don't get 18 minutes for lunch with people opening my yogurt container. I mean, that's not real life. There's not a bus that drives me somewhere every day. That's insanity. Homeschool is real life. When you've got to rotate the laundry and fold the towels and change the sheets and tend to somebody who's sick and answer the phone because someone needs you to bake a casserole that night and run to the grocery store. And that's real life. And that is what I really think is the challenge in homeschooling, and simultaneously the challenge and the opportunity. And that is to dovetail all of this together and realize that the God of the universe is sovereign over it all. And he's teaching your children constantly.
Right.
We have a whole generation of children who don't know how to go to the grocery store, right? Because they don't ever go to the grocery store. They don't know what it's like to rotate laundry. They're going to college and having to figure out how to sort their socks. And so we have the opportunity to teach them those things in the course of our day. Just like April, I think it was you. You're living life together every day. And it's glorious to do that. But it does take a paradigm shift that doesn't happen overnight. But again, if you lean in and breathe, it does happen if you can just embrace the challenge and the opportunity.
Well, and April, you mentioned that having a planner and having a plan helps better than not having one. Knowing you're probably going to be off track pretty quick in the week. And for us, that's what we experienced. So one of the things we did very consistently for the 25 years of our homeschooling is that every Sunday night, Rachel had time alone, 4+ hours. And my job was to take the kids away from mom. And that is really tough. Because
that's a great idea.
How did he do, Rachel?
there were, at the beginning, I thought it was an easy job. Go outside and play, leave your mother alone.
Right.
And sure enough, they'd be knocking on the door, interrupting her, and she'd come to me and say, "Why aren't you watching the kids?"
Because they don't interrupt him, they interrupt me.
And so I literally had to guard the door if we were home and mom was having her time. They would find their way to the door and see me, and I'd shoo them away. But there were many years that we were doing Awana, and it happened to be on Sunday night. And those were easier because I could take the kids to Awana. Mom had the home to herself for 3 or 4 hours, and I was doing something good and productive with the kids and making memories with them, bringing them home tired, putting them to bed. And Rachel at least had that chance that she could count on to get something planned and then try her best to keep the kids on schedule through the week. I don't think we ever had a week that went according to plan, but having that plan was a great sanity piece for Rachel.
Right.
Gave some direction. I mean, you could try and bump yourself back on course if need be. So good thoughts. So let's talk about some curriculum. So one of the things a Christian might be concerned about is, okay, this Darwinian evolutionary teaching that my kids have been exposed to all these years prior to now has really been bothersome, but I don't get to pick the curriculum. So I've come to Apologia because I hear you have creation-based science. So what makes Apologia different from other science curricula? I mean, is it a science book? Is it a creation book? What is it that makes it unique?
Well, and one of the wonderful things about being a homeschool parent is you're in the driver's seat as to what content they're going to be learning and what curriculum is going to match with your values and what you're trying to instill in them and teach them and train them in. And so a typical textbook company that you would get in public school. The textbooks are written largely by committee, and you have all these, different committees. It's very bureaucratic. It comes out reading, technocratically. It's very unrelatable, and many times I feel the student is left saying, "How does this apply to me? How does this apply, day-to-day life?" Apologia.
It's called boring.
That's right. Absolutely boring, and you're destroying, the love of learning. You're just zapping it from your kids. Apologia is different. Apologia, while we have a robust technical editing process, and we've got a number of different scientists and those trained in those particular fields of study reviewing our texts. Typically, they're written by 1-2 authors who write from a biblical worldview perspective, who write from a creation-based perspective, and who write directly to the student in narrative form. And so the student, it's very engaging. It's written narratively to the student, and I really believe that it instills a love of learning in the student, and it's written obviously to acknowledge and glorify our Creator and God.
Yeah, it's something that the older kids can read out loud to the younger kids too, because it's interesting and the way it flows is conversational. So it's not like sit down and memorize this text for the test that's coming up, because there isn't a test for elementary at least. So they can sit down and read it and look at the pictures. And so they'll say, "Oh my goodness, look at this crazy squid picture." And then everybody rushes around because it's got great pictures, and it keeps their attention. So one of the neat things about it, we haven't gone to the high school yet, obviously, because our kids are still in elementary, but one of the neat things about the elementary is that they can all be read at any different age. They can all be like 1st through 6th grade. You could choose astronomy, or you could choose swimming creatures, or any of them, and they can all be either toned up or toned down for the age of the kid. And I like that because you can keep them doing the same thing, which is easier for the mom and easier for the kids when they're all on the same track, but yet some are learning more than others.
And to give you an idea of how this works in day-to-day life, our oldest is showing a real interest in physics and chemistry. So he picks up, our chemistry and physics book, our elementary book here, and he reads it on his own. We're not giving him assignments. I mean, we would, but he's reading it on his own, and then he's using the notebooking journals here.
Yeah, here's the one that he just finished.
Did he
A few weeks ago, he did every single little craft in there, all of it completely on his own. I never assigned him this. He finished the whole book in probably a couple of months. It probably took him about half a semester, I'd say. He loves physics. I mean, he just really enjoyed it. He goes out to our storage building out on the property and does little experiments and projects out there, and I don't even know what he's making half the time, but it all works. So
now, is he just unique? Well, not every student's going to be different. Okay, and some students are going to need more guidance, more oversight. But it's this fostering of this love of learning. I think Apologia does a wonderful, as a wonderful perspective on.
Yeah,
is this fostering?
So one of the other things that has been slightly mentioned here is the Charlotte Mason teaching philosophy. And Apologia has written the books not only in a narrative conversational way to the student, but with a thinking educationally of the Charlotte Mason. So describe how that looks when a mom and a student are going through a book.
So you can do hands-on and exploring type things together. So I don't remember how to explain all the tenets of the Charlotte Mason approach, but we do a lot of nature walks. We do a lot of outdoor things. And I don't always do it with the kids. A lot of times I do, but sometimes I'll just say, "Hey guys, I want to go take a nature walk while I'm making lunch." And they go outside voluntarily. They get little paper bags and they collect specimens of things. And every day that they come in, they have pine cones, caterpillars, leaves, various things. And it's all very cool stuff. I mean, like this cool moss that I've never seen. We have these weird hot pink flowery things growing that I don't even know what they are. And they know the things. That's the amazing part. Jackson knows oh, this is not a poisonous mushroom because I read about it. One of our 1-year-old was eating a mushroom the other day in the yard. And I was like, oh no, I got to call poison control. And he said, no, Mom, I know those are safe because I have studied about them. And he was right. We looked it up and he was right. So they know names of all these things that I don't even know because they are genuinely interested themselves in these things. All of them are big into nature and science. So I think that would flow along with the Charlotte Mason style approach. It's very hands-on and I don't know, personal.
Yeah. And, I think there's a phrase, Ladd and Davis, that we have not tapped into at Apologia that we might consider tapping into, and that is not only this idea of the love of learning, but it ignites curiosity.
Right.
Our kids that have used this curriculum, because this was true for us too, they are frankly not satiated with what they find in these textbooks.
That's
they
right.
want to go out and find other things. Like we had one of our kids started a notebook journal, because that's another component of Charlotte Mason is the kids create these notebooking journals where they like draw and sketch what they're learning when they go on nature walks or when they go by the seashore or whatever. And one of our sons started a little notebook on the different kinds of acorns.
Mm.
That's kind of obscure, but he was super interested in it. He
Absolutely.
one day and he was like, wait, these don't look like the ones in my yard. And I was like, well, no, because there's different kinds. He goes, there's different kinds? No one told me this. And so we went home and we found a book that had all the different kinds, and he started sketching all the different kinds. And then we would go on walks and he would go look for ones that he didn't have. I mean, that is igniting curiosity. That's taking it to the next level. And then they really are driven, like you said about the mushrooms, they're driven to find these things. They're curious enough to actually find out the facts.
Right.
Boy, that is the way to set the world on fire. If you've got people in love learning and they're curious enough about what they're interested in to actually find the answers, that's amazing right there.
And at Apologia, we do come at it from the biblical worldview. We do have a creator. We have a God we serve. He's the God of the universe, and we want to give glory to him in our textbooks. And we want students to come away saying, wow, what an amazing God we have.
So science can be a tough subject for high school. So your kids are in elementary. We have kids that have graduated from our high school. What is the secret sauce to Apologia for a family who has parents who are not scientifically minded? How can that student learn biology, chemistry, or physics if nobody else in the family is knowledgeable of those subjects?
Well, I'm not very scientifically minded, and they're doing great so far. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is, but they have a genuine love of learning on their own, and so I think that they will take it to the level that they can go. I never did projects when I was growing up because my school didn't have hands-on science. It was more very textbook learning, and so I never did the dissecting of frogs and all that stuff. So I kind of missed out on that, and I'm looking forward to getting an education with them when we get to that stage. I don't know if I can handle the frogs, but I'll try. But I think that children that have an interest in it are going to go with that interest, even if the parents have gaps in their education. So for moms that are thinking, I don't have all the answers and I don't have the knowledge for this particular subject, it's okay, because there are resources out there that do have that. And you can guide your children towards that without you having to be the professional, because nobody's an expert in every subject, And
Apologia wants to come alongside the parent. We understand you're primarily responsible for your children's education and training. However, Apologia wants to be a tremendous resource for you. So as you progress through middle school and high school, especially in the sciences, we have some amazing resources. First, we've got the content. We've got the content that's going to hopefully engage your child and, again, foster that love of learning as they progress through high school. Second, we have for all of our courses, or most of our courses, we have two wonderful resources. The first is, well, we have three actually that I'll point to. Is the first is the student notebooks, so they're able to engage similar to the elementary, but much more advanced in terms of they're engaging with the content. they're writing, they're really digging deeper into the content. The student notebooks help foster that. In the front of the student notebooks are also schedules that we recommend. You can adapt them to your homeschool, but they are there. The second thing is our video instruction courses, where we have wonderful instructors that have provided these courses where part of it is in more of a classroom setting, but the other part is actually outside on the ground. And so they're very engaging, and the instructor's there to help guide your student through these difficult subjects. They're going to have questions. You need even more assistance. We have our live online courses through our Apologia Online Academy, where you are getting a live instructor and they're able to help walk with your student, give them instruction, answer questions, and that's a great resource that we have available.
Well, and then we also just introduced this year what's called a self-paced course, which is streaming content online that a person can do, a student can do literally at their own pace. So they're not, with the live academy that you mentioned, they're tracking with a classroom, they're going through a school year and trying to stay in that kind of a schedule and sync with each other. Whereas the self-paced, they can do as many lessons as they want in a day or a week and see the progression that way. So those are some of the different formats we have available to help you get through a science course, for instance.
And also, as a mom who's graduated 5 students from our homeschooling, it's really, really valuable as you get to those junior high and high school kids that your kids learn how to navigate a bunch of different venues. So I think your kids taking an online class, certainly we've all learned this by this point in COVID, have we not? Wouldn't it have been great if we knew, all of us knew how to do all of these different platforms that all the different students and all the different online classes are offering in universities? Your kids need to learn how to navigate a portal, how to upload assignments, how to come under the authority of a different instructor that's not you. So that's a great thing that they need to do in high school. So that I don't really believe that they need to do everything online. I think at the end of COVID, we're all going to be sick of screens. Glory, hallelujah. But I do think they need to know how to navigate that at least 1 or 2 classes in their high school years. I just think it's a helpful tool for them.
The self-paced courses they're brand new to our platform. Like Davis mentioned, this is an exciting portal. It provides the textbook. It provides online grading. It provides video, audio. It's all self-contained, and you go at your own pace. Or we're launching, a recommended schedule for you. Again, tremendous resource for you, and there are options available to you. Everyone's going to be different.
Yeah.
So, Lad, very briefly, let's mention one more curriculum, and that is, most people know that science and math go well together. And this year, we also launched a brand new elementary math curriculum series. So, briefly tell the folks a little bit about that, and then we'll start wrapping this up.
This new math curriculum is going to be exciting. We're trying to develop currently the whole elementary series, but we have level 1 and level 2 math that's released. Level 3 will come out next year. And again, the same thing you'd expect with Apologia Quality. You've got a very engaging curriculum with a spiral notebook that's, the child can dig into the content. It's, again, fostering a love of learning, and a parent key that goes along with it to guide you along. But we're really excited about the math courses we're releasing, Davis, because I think just like the elementary series for science, it's going to be a good pairing.
I think so too.
So we begin to wrap this up. Folks are probably also wondering, okay, this is great. This has been very helpful, but I need support. I need to stay in touch with the community somehow. So people do that on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, podcasts, email. There's all kinds of ways, live and virtual, to stay in touch. How does a person stay in touch with the Apologia community or the homeschool community in general? What are y'all's suggestions for folks?
Yeah, so Apologia has a wonderful Facebook community. We have an e-newsletter you can subscribe to get all the latest content. We have an active Instagram channel where you can find out deals. And it is great to see a lot of engagement there. We really want to engage with parents who are navigating this uncertain time and give you the resources you need so you can really be blessed in your homeschooling journey. There is a wonderful podcast by Davis and Rachel Carmen I would highly recommend. And so that's available on just about anywhere you can get a podcast, right, Davis?
Yeah, Let's Talk Homeschool is the name of that one that we typically do 2 shows a month, and a devotional occasionally when there's a third Monday in a given month. So we've been doing that for 1.5 years. Audience is growing. Love to have you join us.
And if you have any questions, or if you'd like to see the 4 of us back attempting to give you some wisdom and answers, because like I said today, it's not about figuring this out. It's about learning as you go. It's about learning more about God, trusting God more, and really investing into those relationships we have at home. But we would love to come back and chat with you again. So if there are any questions that you'd like to put up on the Facebook page, feel free to contact us through there. I also have a Facebook page, rachelcarmen.com. Tuesday, I launched a new series on character. It's entitled Counterculture Character. So it's going to run all the way through next April with 28 different character qualities that you can train your children in, because I believe character is foundational for this journey. And that's actually what's going to separate the men from the boys, is that we raise children who have the character of Christ. So I'd love to have you join me there.
Oh,
Right. One last question for everybody. You each get to give us one reason why people should come to Apologia. What's either for the curriculum, the community, the answers to questions. One thing. April, why don't you go first? Then Lad, then Rachel.
No pressure. I love the curriculum because I love the bright color pictures. And for me, art and what they're looking at really is important to me. So I like to give them only books that are pretty. And it's just a big deal to me. I just really hate ugly, boring, all black and white, tiny little pictures. I enjoy the beautiful artwork and the illustrations and the full color pictures of the curriculum. So that's, when you just look at the covers, it's like bright, beautiful swimming fish and beautiful birds, and it just draws them in immediately. So that would be my thing.
I would say content matters. What your kids are consuming matters. It's shaping their worldview and their perspective. And so Apologia has a biblical, creation-based worldview that I love and am glad to stand behind.
And I would say the Apologia team. So God in his grace has assembled an amazing team of moms and dads who have homeschooled. We need to add up all the years that are represented in homeschooling on the Apologia team. People who just really want to help you succeed and want to support you and encourage you and cheer you along. So all of those questions and comments, we really do want to hear from you, and let us know how we can help you succeed.
And the one answer I would give is, if you're new to homeschooling, you probably got here because somebody recommended Apologia. And that's because all those people that have been using Apologia before you have voted us #1 over 110 times. We have over 110 #1 awards for 13 years in a row. And that's just amazing. But I believe it's more than anything a testament to how people trust Apologia, trust the name, trust the brand, trust the content, trust the high quality pictures, everything that was mentioned there. So thank you all for joining us, for listening. We do hope that we answer some of your questions and help you stay in this game. This is this homeschooling journey is a lifestyle. It's going to be part of your family DNA. Don't give up this year. Stay in it. God's going to do great things. So we are all 4 of us right here, are walking by faith and enjoying the homeschooling adventure of a lifetime.
Thank you.
Thank you.